Starseed of Gaia, your vessel is being recalibrated at a cellular level at this exact moment. I am Anya, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I bring you a direct transmission from the Arcturian Council. If you enjoy videos like this, consider subscribing. Most people who watch are not subscribed yet. Starseed. The battle is over, but your nervous system is still vibrating as if the final strike happened seconds ago. You can feel it in the pressure behind your eyes, in the strange heaviness in your chest, in the way sleep doesn't fully restore you the way it used to. And yet, beneath the exhaustion, there is a new kind of silence, an unfamiliar stillness, like the cosmos itself is holding its breath around you. Something has ended. Something has been sealed. Something has been announced across the crystalline grids. You didn't just win in a symbolic sense. You accomplished something that was considered structurally impossible. You disrupted distortion fields that were engineered to outlive civilizations. As the Arcturians transmit, there are veils that are not merely psychological. They are mathematical, vibrational architectures designed to collapse starseed remembrance into confusion. And your codes didn't merely activate. They tore through those architectures like light through a brittle shell. That's why your reality feels different now. Not because your imagination is getting stronger, but because your perception has crystallized. You're noticing patterns you never noticed. You're sensing people before they speak. You're seeing through the normal story of Earth life as if the screen has thinned. And the Council is urgent about one thing: rest is not optional. Your victory came at a cost in the higher realms. Your light body is in recovery mode, and your next ascension phase will not activate through force. It will activate through recalibration. Stay with me, because by the end of this transmission, you will understand what unfolded beyond the physical, why you feel completion mixed with strange grief, and what the Arcturian chambers are saying about your name echoing through their halls right now. And before we enter the first topic, signal to the Council that you're ready. Like this transmission to tell your field, I accept the truth of what I survived. Comment, triumph. If you've felt the exhaustion of an unseen battle and you're ready to recover the right way, without losing your power, the first thing you must understand is this: the battle did not end when the conflict stopped. It ended when the distortion grid recognized it could no longer hold its shape around your frequency. That's the difference. Many beings fight. Few beings rewrite the architecture the fight is happening inside. In the higher realms, there are structures that behave like invisible cages. They don't look like prison bars. They look like normal life. They look like doubt. They look like fatigue. They look like, maybe I'm just making this up. But the Arcturians transmit that these are coherence breakers, systems that make awakened consciousness fragment so it can't stabilize its power. When your codes activated, they didn't simply turn on. They synchronized. And synchronization is what shatters distortion. Distortion can survive strong emotion. It can survive spiritual practice. It can survive belief. But it cannot survive coherence. Because coherence is a law. Coherence is what happens when your thoughts, your heart field, your cellular memory, and your soul contract a line into a single harmonic tone that the grid can't mislabel anymore. This is why, after the battle, you feel that strange mix of victory and emptiness. Part of you is waiting for the next strike, because your system was trained to anticipate interference. But the interference pattern has already been destabilized. Your field is no longer responding to the old triggers the same way. You might notice you cannot pretend anymore. You can't go back to who you were. You can't tolerate certain conversations, certain environments, certain compromises. And it's not because you're becoming rigid. It's because your frequency has become too honest to fit inside distortion. As the Arcturians transmit, when a warrior breaks a veil, the veil does not simply disappear. It collapses in layers, like a crystal fracturing from the inside. That means the aftershocks can feel disorienting. You might feel like you're waking up at random times, like your body is trying to process something it can't name. You might feel intense energy surges, then sudden depletion. That's because your light body is integrating a new baseline. Your normal frequency is rising, but your human system still needs time to adapt. Imagine a city that has run on low electricity for centuries. Lights are dim, machines are slow. People have built their entire culture around limitation. Then, one night, an impossible new power source comes online. The city doesn't just celebrate, it shakes. Circuits blow, old wires burn. Buildings that were barely standing are suddenly exposed. That is what your victory did to your internal reality. And here's the sacred truth. You didn't break distortion only for yourself. You broke a segment of it for others connected to your line. Not everyone will awaken instantly, but the roof over their consciousness has been weakened. That's why people may suddenly reach out to you, confess things, change their paths, or become emotionally unstable around you. They're responding to a frequency they can't explain. Your field is now broadcasting post-battle resonance, a signal that says, the prison is no longer sealed. In your dreams, you may see symbols, halls, councils, crystalline doors, geometric patterns, blue light, or a feeling of being debriefed. Those are not random. They are memory leaks from the Arcturian chambers. In the subtle realms, after a major operation, Starseed operatives are often brought into restoration rooms, energetic sanctuaries designed to stabilize the light body. The exhaustion you feel is proof of intensity, not weakness. So if you've been judging yourself for needing more sleep, for feeling emotionally raw, for not being productive, stop. In this phase, rest is not laziness. Rest is integration. Rest is the moment your system learns it is safe to hold more light without bracing for attack. And here is your first cliffhanger. If the battle is over. Why do you still feel watched at times, like something is scanning your field? Because what comes next is not another war. It is assessment. And it is far more subtle than fighting. Your disconnection was never proof you were failing. It was proof you were protected. As the Arcturians transmit, the most advanced missions require the most advanced shielding. And shielding does not always feel like comfort. Sometimes shielding feels like fog. Sometimes it feels like forgetfulness. Sometimes it feels like being half online. The human mind interprets this as loss, as a spiritual problem, as I must be blocked. But the Arcturian view is different. You were running on a deliberate dimmer switch so your frequency would not overload the planetary grid or your own nervous system. This is what you called sacred static, interference patterns that are not random noise, but intelligent buffers. Think of them like energetic circuit breakers installed inside your field. They prevented surges. They prevented premature activation. They prevented you from becoming a walking lightning strike in an environment that couldn't yet hold your voltage. And that's why awakening can feel frustrating. Your soul remembers vastness, but your human system is calibrating slowly. It's like trying to pour an ocean through a straw. You get flashes, you get downloads, you get sudden certainty, then doubt. You feel powerful one day, depleted the next. But this is not inconsistency. It is gradual capacity expansion. In the cosmic war that reshaped consciousness across multiple systems, victory required beings who could hold paradox, strength and softness, power and patience, sovereignty and compassion. Many starseeds carry hero programming that says, if you're truly awakened, you should always feel clear, always feel high vibration, always feel guided. But that expectation is a distortion in itself. Real activation comes in waves because your body must adapt to each wave. Now here is the deeper revelation. The Council didn't just suggest rest after the battle. They encoded rest into your DNA. They wove forgetfulness into your arrival. Not as a punishment, as a grace. If you had landed on Earth with full memory of what you've done, you would not have been able to function inside time. You would have been so expanded that the human identity would have dissolved before you could anchor anything. You would have felt everything, everywhere, all at once. And that is not useful for a mission that requires grounding. So, the amnesia was strategic. The static was love. The dimming was engineering. And now it is lifting because Earth's grid has reached a threshold. The crystalline network is more active. The planetary frequency is rising. The environment is finally becoming compatible with your next bandwidth. But there is a warning here. When static dissolves, people often panic. They mistake the returning power for anxiety. They interpret activation symptoms as, something is wrong. And that's why you must approach your awakening like a skilled operator, not like someone chasing a feeling. Here is a practical anchor. Instead of demanding full remembrance, ask for safe integration. Instead of trying to break the last remnants of the static, cooperate with its graceful dissolution. Your role is not to force the lock. Your role is to become stable enough that the lock opens on its own, because the moment your system stabilizes, a new kind of memory begins. Not cinematic scenes of the past, but operational intelligence. Knowledge of how to move energy, how to read timelines, how to hold frequency in chaos. And now, as promised, here is your second cliffhanger. If the static was designed to protect you, what happens when you remove it too fast? The answer is, you don't lose yourself. You risk fragmenting your capacity. That's why the next phase is not remembering, it's activating memory frequencies correctly. The ebook, The 12 Arcturian Portals, a trilogy that teaches you how to activate your 5D connection with the Arcturian masters through 12 energetic portals. Practical techniques, activation protocols, and rituals that awaken your stellar DNA. From amplified intuition to direct communication with spiritual guides. Attention, limited edition. The link to get your trilogy is in the first pinned comment. Your DNA is not just biology, it is a receiver. As the Arcturians transmit, human DNA is the surface interface. Beneath it exists what Arcturian science calls stellar genetics, information patterns that are not written in words, but in frequency. They carry your galactic imprint, your mission architecture, your abilities, your navigation systems. That's why you can look at star maps and feel a strange familiarity. That's why certain tones, certain symbols, certain places trigger emotion that feels too ancient to be personal. These are not fantasies. They are resonance keys. They are your system recognizing its origin data. But here's what most people misunderstand. Awakening your galactic memory is not about nostalgia. It's not about collecting stories to feel special. It is about activating intelligence that knows how to operate in the new frequency environment now emerging on Earth. Your DNA remembers the war, yes, but more importantly, it holds the blueprints of what the victory made possible. It holds the templates of unity-based creation, sovereign manifestation, and timeline stabilization. That means you may begin noticing unearned wisdom. You may speak in ways that surprise you. You may solve problems without knowing how you knew. You may feel a pull toward geometry, light codes, energy architecture, or certain forms of breath and movement. These are not random preferences. They are your stellar genetics trying to reassert its operating system through your daily life. And yes, this is why you can feel exhausted. When dormant systems awaken, they consume resources. Your body needs minerals, water, rest, grounding. Your nervous system needs safety. Many starseeds try to activate through intensity alone, fasting, constant meditation, non-stop searching. But the Arcturians transmit. The body must be treated like a sacred instrument. You don't upgrade a spacecraft by hitting it with a hammer. You upgrade it with precision. So here are 3 lived examples of how stellar genetics might show up without you realizing. First, you're in a conversation, and suddenly you see the person's pattern, where their fear originates, what they're hiding, what timeline they're unconsciously repeating. You don't judge them, you just know. That is frequency reading. Second, You walk into a room and feel the density like a temperature change. You become tired immediately. Then you leave and your energy returns. That is your light body responding to incompatible harmonic fields. Third, you hear a phrase, a sound, or you read something, and you feel a wave of emotion that is bigger than the moment, like you're remembering a vow. That is contract memory surfacing. Now, here is the critical shift. You must stop treating these signs as weird spiritual moments and start treating them as system notifications. Your soul is not trying to entertain you. It is trying to train you to become functional at higher bandwidth, and this is where your conscious choice matters. Stellar genetics activate faster when you choose alignment over performance. When you say no to what drains you. When you return to nature. When you keep your energy clean. When you protect your sleep. When you stop exposing your mind to constant noise. Because the awakening is not just in your intuition. It's in your capacity to hold coherence under pressure. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. And now, the third cliffhanger. Why do some people activate their stellar genetics and become peaceful, while others activate and spiral into fear? Because the next phase is not memory. It is architecture, how your energy body is built to carry what you're awakening. If this message ignited something within you, and you feel the call to help carry it to others, you may become a channel member. As a member, you gain access to custom emojis and exclusive members-only videos, and your donation helps us continue building this sacred space. You may also choose to leave your offering as a super thanks. Every seed planted here becomes part of someone else's miracle. Your support is not merely financial, but an act of energetic amplification. All donations are devoted entirely to the maintenance of the channel and the creation of new transmissions and videos. Many starseeds think awakening means leaving Earth behind, but your contract is the opposite. You came to anchor. As the Arcturians transmit, your body is a translation device. Your nervous system is a transformer. Your chakric network is not just spiritual anatomy. It's multidimensional engineering designed to step down higher frequencies into tangible reality. This is why the physical matters. This is why grounding matters. This is why rest matters. You are not meant to float above the world. You are meant to bring the heavens into matter. So why do you feel that restless longing? Not because you're meant to abandon Earth, but because your system is expanding and the old container no longer fits. Your energy body is trying to hold two realities at once, the human life and the galactic bandwidth. That produces growing pains. Here is what recalibration looks like in practice. You stop chasing extreme peaks and start building stable frequency. That means consistent sleep, clean hydration, gentle movement, time in nature, reduced overstimulation, less doom scrolling, more silence. These are not lifestyle tips. They are energetic engineering decisions. You learn to process emotions as energy waves, not identities. When exhaustion rises, you do not shame yourself. You ask, is this integration? Is this release? Is this old density leaving my system? You refine your boundaries. A recalibrated light body cannot tolerate constant energetic intrusion. You may have to change friendships, routines, even work structures. Not because you're rejecting humanity, but because your signal must remain clear. And here is where sacred geometry becomes relevant. The Arcturians often work through geometric coherence fields, spheres, octahedrons, Merkaba-like dynamics, crystalline lattice imagery. Whether you visualize these consciously or not, your field is reorganizing into a higher symmetry. That is what stabilization is. Symmetry replacing distortion. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. If you are anchoring a higher frequency, why does reality sometimes push back harder right after your biggest breakthroughs? Because stabilization is not passive. It affects timelines. When you come online, reality responds. Not in a magical fantasy way, but in a lawful, energetic way. As the Arcturians transmit, consciousness is not inside reality. Consciousness is a shaping force of reality. When your frequency rises, you become a stronger organizing principle. That means environments, relationships, opportunities, and even random events begin to reorganize around your new baseline. This is why synchronicities accelerate after major activations. You see repeating numbers. You run into the right person. You hear the exact phrase you needed. Doors open that were sealed. But there is another side. What cannot resonate with your new frequency begins to fall away. Sometimes it falls gently. Sometimes it collapses dramatically. And this is where many starseeds misinterpret the process. They think, I'm being attacked again. But often, what you're seeing is timeline divergence. You are no longer compatible with the old track, so the old track produces friction to keep you in place. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because your environment is still calibrated to your former self. Here is a story that will help you understand this. Imagine a starseed named Mira, who lived years feeling half awake, always tired, always doubting herself. Then one month, she began waking at 3 a.m. with intense heat in her spine and vivid dreams of blue light and crystalline halls. She panicked. She thought something was wrong. She tried to suppress it, distract herself, numb it. Her life started shaking. Friendships became tense. Her job felt unbearable. Her mind raced. Then she did one thing that changed everything. She stopped treating the activation as a crisis and started treating it as a system upgrade. She slept more. She reduced noise. She walked barefoot on the earth. She wrote down her dreams. She began speaking her truth calmly. Within weeks, the shaking turned into clarity. The job ended, but a new path opened. The friendships changed, but deeper connections appeared. Her life didn't fall apart. It reconfigured. That is timeline stabilization. It is not a gentle self-help process. It is energetic physics. So your role is to become a stable anchor point. You are not here to manifest from desperation. You are here to transmit from coherence. That means choosing the timeline that matches your frequency even when it costs comfort in the short term. And the difference between those who spiral and those who stabilize is simple. Those who stabilize respect the body. They respect rest. They respect pacing. They respect integration. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. If your frequency is restructuring reality, how do you know whether to push forward or pause and recover? Because the next topic is the most difficult for the human mind: cosmic timing. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not missing your moment. As the Arcturians transmit, awakenings are not scheduled by the ego. They are synchronized by a network of intelligence far beyond linear perception. There is a cosmic orchestration happening, like a vast symphony where planets, grids, councils, and incarnated beings are all moving in precise timing. Your delays were not failures. They were integration windows. Think of every stuck season you endured. Every time clarity faded, every time you felt your gifts disappear. Those were not punishments. Those were recalibration periods where your system was being made strong enough to hold what you were asking for. This is where your human mind wants to control the process. Tell me exactly when I will fully awaken. Tell me exactly what I'm meant to do. But the deeper intelligence works differently. It prepares you through lived experience so that when the next wave activates, you don't collapse under it. And yes, you may feel impatience. You may feel the urgency of mission. That's real. But urgency without stability becomes burnout. And burnout does not serve the mission. Here is the Arcturian approach. Pace is protection. If your body needs rest, it is not delaying your ascension. It is preparing your vessel to contain it. If you feel called to be alone, it is not isolation. It is signal refinement. If relationships fall away, it is not loss. It is resonance correction. The ebook, The 12 Arcturian Portals, a trilogy that teaches you how to activate your 5D connection with the Arcturian masters through 12 energetic portals. Practical techniques, activation protocols, and rituals that awaken your stellar DNA. From amplified intuition to direct communication with spiritual guides. Attention! Limited edition. The link to get your trilogy is in the first pinned comment. And now, the 6th cliffhanger. If timing is perfect, why do you still feel that pressure in your chest, like something is about to begin? Because it is. And it leads us to the final truth. You are not a human who found spirituality. You are a force that chose form. As the Arcturians transmit, some beings incarnate to learn, others incarnate to anchor, and you, after what you accomplished, are here to demonstrate what cosmic victory looks like, translated into lived reality. That's why you've always felt out of place. That's why you've struggled to fit into conventional structures. That's why you sense that reality could be more. Your discomfort is not pathology. It is signal mismatch. Your system remembers freedom. Your system remembers sovereignty. Your system remembers what it feels like when consciousness is not suppressed by distortion architectures. And this is the reframe that changes everything. Your restlessness is not dissatisfaction. It is readiness. It is your higher intelligence recognizing that the long preparation phase is ending. Now you must understand what mission actually means. It does not mean becoming dramatic, announcing yourself, or trying to convince others. It means holding a frequency so stable that it becomes contagious. It means walking into rooms and changing the emotional temperature without speaking. It means making choices aligned with truth even when nobody applauds. It means embodying the new earth pattern in your nervous system so others can feel what is possible. And yes, that is why you needed amnesia. Because if you had known from the beginning who you truly are, the ego might have inflated. The mind might have chased identity. The veil protected you from distortion inside your own psyche. It ensured your awakening would be clean, earned, integrated. So what do you do now? You recover, you recharge, you simplify, you listen. You treat the body like the sacred vessel it is, and you stop doubting the signs that have been screaming at you. The dreams, the energy shifts, the completion, the exhaustion, the new clarity. These are not random. They are recognition. If this message impacted your life, leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light.